But from our point of view, we think it's meant for our own enjoyment. Just like sometimes you bring some bundi from the market and you leave it in the room and you go for a bath. And when you come back and see, you find all the ants have occupied the bundi and they are all eating it. So what the ants are thinking about bundi? It is whose? It is their own. They think, hey, here we found the bundi, so we will enjoy it. And then immediately you want to get rid of the ants. What do? You take it and keep it in the hot sun outside, and all the ants will be gone. And the proprietorship is also finished along with the hot sun there. So in the same manner, you will find in this world, the living beings in this world come. They occupy some land, they take it in their name, that they have a paper and everything, and then one day they quit and go. Then the next fellow comes, third fellow comes, and some of them are not just satisfied in occupying a small piece of land. Like Alexander, for example, wanted to occupy the entire surface of the globe, huh? And not only they dominate over the land, there are some living entities who dominate over the other living beings. Also, like Hitler, for example, wanted to dominate over the Jews, or the whites wanted to dominate over the blacks. You find all over the world, the domination, exploitation, mm, over the money, over the land, over the people. uh, and why the living beings are all trying to do this? The point is very simple. Actually, in the spiritual world, God is the supreme leader, and all living beings are subordinate to Him. And the living entities want to imitate His position. Oh, He is leader there, and we are all subordinates. We'll come to material world, and I will be leader, and everybody will be who subordinate? My subordinate. And that's what they're all trying to do. But there's a big difference. God is a loving father, and all subordinates are loving subordinates. And the relationship is actually one of love in the spiritual world. But in the material world, when we come and we want to be the central figurehead for all living beings, like Alexander wanted to be leader of the whole world. Hiranyakashipu wanted to be leader of not only Earth, all the three planetary systems, upper, lower, and middle, the entire universe, we can say. He wanted to usurp that position. So then they create a havoc. Prabhupada says, I want to eat you and you want to eat me. That's the kind of world we are living in, where everybody lives in fear. The deers are living in fear of the tiger. The tiger is also afraid that if I am not able to catch the deer for 2 weeks, he will die out of starvation. So tiger is also in fear. Deer is also in fear. Small fishes are in fear because of the big fishes. Small snakes are in fear because big snakes will swallow them. Hmm. And small businessmen are in fear because of bigger businessmen who will swallow their business. Like one country is in fear of another country. Like India is fearful of Pakistan, Pakistan is fearful of India, the neighborhood countries. Similarly, America may be a big country, but even they are fearful of Russia. They have other bigger guns, bigger fellows. So the world is filled with the principle of fear, the living beings competing with one another for domination over one another, to enjoy separately. And that is how this world became called a separated energy of the Lord. So separate energy cannot make people happy. Therefore, Prabhupada writes here, by so-called advancement of knowledge, human civilization has created many material things, including spaceships and atomic energy. You will see in all the advancement of science and technology and medicine, initially they taught how to kill a mosquito with an electric bat. Just you can just roast it. Then they taught how to kill a cockroach with a bacon spray. Then they made plans how to capture the rat or how to kill the rat. And then they even kill the rabbits by putting some cosmetic items into the eyes and burning the eyes of the poor creature, isn't it? In this way, along with all this advancement, there is also great harm for the living entities. Earlier, once in a while, somebody may kill a cow, uh, here and there. But now, with the advancement of science and technology, we have huge guillotine machines, where the cows are killed in millions, taka, 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 continuously, very fastly at a very rapid rate. They're being slaughtered. So you can see that with the advancement of science and technology, the violence has terribly increased all across the globe. And somebody may say the modern advancement has gifted us so many valuable, technological gadgets and commodities. Won't you appreciate that? Mm. Actually, we can see that the living entities, when they try to become separate from God and enjoy separately, the very same gadgets keep them preoccupied and absorbed, making them distance from one another. And that has only posed more challenges in the modern times, which everyone knows. The living beings have created a messy world of air pollution, water pollution, noise pollution, mind pollution, all kinds of pollution. So uh, you will see they want to become happy. It's not that they don't want to, they want suffering. And they want to become happy. So what do they do for happiness? They are creating SL world, Disney world, or they come up with some kind of fictitious characters like Spider-Man or He-Man or Batman. So, of course, children may watch this for entertainment, but there is no purification in all these imagined characters. Why they're imagined, having imagined characters? Srila Prabhupada says in the Bhagavatam first canto, I mean, one of the verses, very important thing he says, the living beings always want a hero in their life. And if they don't know the Supreme Lord Krishna, they are definitely going to settle for some material hero. He may be a sports star, he may be a cinema star, or he may be some other star, some other hero in this world. But that hero becomes a zero over a period of time. And if they don't get any hero or heroine, then they'll make fictitious characters, like the Spider-Man, Batman, and all that. So these things, Mickey Mouse, and all these kind of things, you can try to think for a moment how the man's fictitious characters have occupied the lives of children and lives of even adults also, and they have absorbed his consciousness. Imagine somebody thinking of a Mickey Mouse at the time of death, they become a rat in the next life. This is the gift of our modern day advancement. You can think about. So, but the Shastras teach us, different from this kind of material situation. I'll show you one verse from the Srimad Bhagavatam. Yeah, here you can see this beautiful verse. This is 10.14.23. Ekastvamaatma purusha puranaha satya swayam jyotirananta adyah nityoksharo sukho niranjanaha purnatvayo mukta upadito mritah. We'll recite the word to word meaning, very important. Ekah, one. Tvam, you. Atma, the Supreme Soul. Purushaha, the Supreme Person. Puranaha, the oldest. Satyaha, the Absolute Truth. Swayam Jyotihi, self-manifested. Anantaha, without end. Adyaha, without beginning. Nityaha, eternal. Aksharaha, indestructible. Ajasrasukaha, whose happiness cannot be obstructed. Niranjanaha, devoid of contamination. Purna, complete. Advayaha, without a second. Muktaha, free. Upaditaha, from all material designations. Amritaha, deathless. Read the translation, please.
You are the one supreme soul, the primeval, supreme personality, the absolute truth, self-manifested, endless and beginningless. You are eternal and infallible, perfect and complete, without any rival, and free from all material designations. Your happiness can never be obstructed, nor have you any connection with material contamination. Indeed, you are the indestructible nectar of immortality.
Yeah. So this is a glorification of Lord Krishna done by Brahma. See, he's saying, you are self-manifested. You are not born from anybody, and you are endless. That means you existed always, and there is no death for you. And you are beginningless, and you are endless. You are eternal, and you are always infallible. The jivas in this world, we are fallible, but the Lord is infallible, and you are always perfect. You are never imperfect, and you are always complete. There is nothing incomplete in you, and you have no rival. There is no history of anyone defeating Lord Krishna. He is always eternally the master and eternally the victorious. And you are free from all material designations because the Lord has a body made of Sachidananda Vigraha, spiritual body, and he has no material designations. And Ajasra Sukha means your happiness can never be obstructed, which means you have endless happiness. In this world, our happiness is thwarted. Like after eating a few gulab jamuns, we want to eat more, but we have no place in the belly. Our happiness is thwarted. Or somebody says, oh, I love my mother, love my father, then they're separated from love, mother and father in this world. Our happiness cannot go on forever in this world. And also the Lord has no material connection. It's a very beautiful purport. Yeah, read it.
Srila Sridhar Swami explains how the various terms of this verse demonstrate that the transcendental body of Lord Krishna is free from the characteristics of material bodies. All material bodies go through 6 phases: birth, growth, maturity, reproduction, decline, and destruction. But Lord Krishna does not take material birth, since he is the original reality, a fact clearly indicated here by the word Adya, original. We take our material birth within a particular material atmosphere, in material bodies that are amalgamation
Of various
of
material
various
elements.
material elements. Since Lord Krishna existed long before the creation of any material atmosphere or element, there is no question of material birth for his transcendental body. Similarly, the word Purna means full and complete, refutes the concept that Lord Krishna could grow, since he is ever existing in fullness. When one's material body becomes mature, one can no longer enjoy as in youth, but the words Ajasra Sukha, enjoying unobstructed happiness, indicate the Lord Krishna's body never reaches so-called middle age, since it is always full of spiritual youthful bliss.
Like Adyam, Purana Purusham, Navayavvanam cha. He is the original personality of Godhead, existed even before the dawn of creation. He is Puranam, very, very old, but Navayavvanam cha. Always ever fresh and youthful. In the battlefield of Kurukshetra, Krishna was 125 years on the planet, and he looked like a 16-year-old boy. He always is ever fresh and youthful. Yes.
The word "akshara", undiminishing, refutes the possibility that Lord Krishna's body grows old or declines, and the word "amrita", immortal, negates the possibility of death.
Each word is very specifically used in this verse. Akshara means there is no kshin, there is nothing. As we get older, you will see our material bodies in this world, from childhood to boyhood to youth. The body grows, the amount of food that you eat also grows, uh, the body size increases, and your energy also grows from childhood to boyhood to youth, if you see. But then after we come to youth, like say between 25 to 50, somewhat the body is maintained. But beyond 40, beyond 50, there's a decline. In the quantity of food you eat, there is decline. In the bodily shape and size also, there's a shrinking of the body. And also the body starts dwindling, causing varieties of diseases. So that is actually kshara. We can see, and our body gradually develops inability. uh, we can't lift the weight, we can't climb up staircase, so many things, difficulties. And then his body is amrita, our material body is mrita. It is destructible, yeah.
In other words, Lord Krishna's transcendental body is free from the transformations of material bodies. The Lord does, however, create innumerable worlds and expand himself as innumerable living entities. But the Lord's so-called reproduction is completely spiritual and does not take place at a certain phase of bodily existence. Rather, it constitutes the Lord's eternal proclivity to expand his spiritual bliss and glories.
Yeah. So when the Lord wants to produce a baby or a child, how does he produce? Lord Vishnu from his own navel, he just generated one lotus, in which his first created son Brahma was born, isn't it? See, can any man in this world do that? Lord can do that. He can easily expand himself from his body, like when Lord Krishna wanted to dance with thousands of gopis, he expanded himself in thousands of forms. 16,000 in Dwaraka, he married 16,000 queens by expanding himself into 16,000 forms. So he has that type of ability to expand in any number of forms, and whereas we cannot do such kind of expansion. Even if a yogi can expand to some 9 forms, all the 9 forms will do the same activity. Whereas in Krishna's case, all the different forms can perform different activity. Yeah.
As the Lord states in Shruti Purvam Evaham Ihasham, I alone existed in the beginning, therefore here the Lord is called Purushaha Purana, the primeval enjoyer. This original Purusha expands himself as the Supersoul and enters every living being. Still, he is ultimately the Absolute Truth, Krishna, as stated in the Gopal Tapni Upanishad.
यः साक्षात् परब्रह्मेति गोविन्दं सच्चिदानन्दविग्रहं वृन्दावन सुरभूरुह तलासीनं.
The Absolute Truth himself is Govinda, who has an eternal form of bliss and knowledge and who is sitting beneath the saddy desire trees of Vrindavan. This Absolute Truth is beyond material ignorance and beyond even ordinary spiritual knowledge, as stated in the same Gopal Tapni Shruti.
विद्याया विद्याभ्यां भिन्नः.
Thus, in many ways, the supremacy of Lord Krishna has been established in the Vedic literature, and it is here confirmed by Lord Brahma himself.
Yeah. So in this way, this verse described Krishna's how to this one. Yeah. So coming back to our Isopanishad purport, just now we were discussing about the bodily form of Lord Krishna, how it is imperishable, it is ever youthful, it is fresh, it is undying, and it is primeval, it's Adi, it is endless. So that is not only to Lord Krishna is spiritual, Lord Krishna's spiritual world expansion, the Antaranga Shakti, is also similarly spiritual. All the living entities, they're all completely spiritual. They have spiritual bodies, and all the items are spiritual there. And there's a spiritual loving relationships. So, but when one leaves that atmosphere and comes to this atmosphere of this material world, it's called Yasha Sarveshu Bhuteshu Nashyatsu Na Vinashyati. That world is never destroyed, whereas this world is repeatedly created, maintained, and destroyed. Bhutva, Bhutva, Praliyate. It says that. And what is being created and destroyed is the material elements, if you see. So the example is given in Vedanta Sutra, like if you have a tree, there are many leaves which come in the tree and drop off. There are many fruits and flowers that are taking birth in the tree and they all drop off. But the tree remains in the same place. Many, many things come, stay, and go away, but the tree remains. Like that, the Supreme Lord, Supreme Absolute Truth, and the Antarang Shakti, they are like that. Whereas the material world is created, maintained, annihilated. And that is true for our body also. The body takes birth, it is maintained, and it is finished. But unfortunately, this truth is never analyzed or researched by the scientists, as he says here. Mm. Yet it has failed to create a situation in which people um, need not die, take birth again, become old, or suffer from disease. Now they will say that, oh, don't you know, we take CT scan and everything. We have very huge machines now, very sophisticated medical facilities we have. Sometimes they put a person in a tray, in a table, and they put him inside the big machine, as if when he's coming out, he's going to be a Superman or something. He's going to do some miracle or something. But doesn't mean the man is free from sickness. Eventually, the body gets old and diseased and dies. Uh, with all the sophistication. Some scientists may be proud that some of the older diseases we have removed, but then 2 dozen more new diseases have come now. Man never had SARS before. A couple of years before we had SARS virus, and now we have the coronavirus now. And there is dengue, there is chikungunya. These are all very new. The recent onslaughts, and they are also far more powerful. They are saying the bacteria and viruses now are far more powerful than the ones which came long before. So in this way, with all our advancement, man cannot combat or counteract the degradation of the material body, a decay of the material body. He will not be able to put a full stop to that. I read that. Whenever an intelligent, yeah, I read that.
Whenever an intelligent man raises the question of these miseries before a so-called scientist, the scientist very cleverly replies that material science is progressing and that ultimately it will be possible to render man deathless, ageless, and diseaseless. Such answer.
This is what they have in such answers.
Such answers prove the scientist's gross ignorance of material nature.
Yeah, actually, they have a notion that by our research we will stop the death one day. But actually, little do they know about what is Jada, what is Chetan, what is Atma, what is material, what is spiritual. Therefore, one should go to the basics of the Bhagavad Gita. So Prabhupada says the scientist's promise is like a penniless beggar in the end of the street giving you $1 million check, which is a post-dated check. So because scientists endeavor to stop the death or to stop the diseases or the age is not a new attempt. There were far more powerful fellows than the scientists like our Hiranyakashipu, who tried to attain Amaratva. Prabhupada writes about it. So he had tried to attain immortality in this material body, and it is only a myth to be immortal in this body. This body, like there was one, I remember one businessman in Texas, oil millionaire. So he was very, very aggressive, very hardworking man. And he had expanded his companies all over the world. Suddenly, when he became 72, he started feeling a little weak. So he called the doctors and said, "Why am I feeling weak?" The doctor said, "Because your body is aging now." So immediately he threw some $10 million and told them, begin a research. I'll give you more money if you want. Find out what is this aging and you stop it because I have a lot of things to do, he was saying. So they researched. And in our Indian Express, I had read an article, one full page article on the aging process of the cells in the body. As one grows older and older, the dying cells are more and the cells replenished are very few. So they found out how the aging process takes place. And then the doctors told him, "Sir, we know what is the aging mechanism, but we cannot stop it as much as we cannot stop the rising or setting of the sun. We have no ability to stop it." That is the answer he got from them. Therefore, you will see that with all our advancement, we cannot stop the aging process, nor can we put a full stop to the diseases, nor can one put a full stop to the death. So man tries to hold on to his idea of himself being this dying material body and trying to make it more and more comfortable. For example, they are saying, let us make bigger cars, better cars, finer roads. and star hotels, 3 star, then 5 star, then 7 star. You can make double and a dozen stars later on. Uh, So therefore, one company has a slogan: "Let's make things better." And that's their slogan. But the scriptures say, "Let us make people better." And I'll tell you the deep meaning behind this statement. Because if the jiva, which is entrapped in this material body, if he is trained in the knowledge of spiritual life, he gives up his evil propensities, uh, and he becomes rightly aligned with God's plans. Then actually the jiva is becoming better, and you'll never have to take the birth again in this world. You'll never have to be born again. You'll never have to get old, never get disease, never die. So therefore, we should try to improve the quality of people's lives. Like you see the human values, the character, the good health, peace of mind, relationships. Even these basic things are lacking in the modern times. And what is speak of things which are more sublime than this, like understanding of God, surrendering to God, acting for the pleasure of God, which are all far more advanced things, divine things. Modern man actually even lacks in the basic uh, human values and character and everything. So therefore, uh, if we try to make the material things better, uh, it is like a repeatedly falling away phenomenon, as we said. Therefore, he's saying, read it in the material nature.
In the material nature, everyone is under the stringent laws of matter and must pass through six stages of existence: birth, growth, maintenance, production of byproducts, deterioration, and finally death. No one in contact with material nature can be beyond these six laws of transformation. Therefore, no one, whether demigod, man, animal, or plant, can survive forever in the material world.
Yeah. People think of these material bodies to be all in all, and they think uh, when the body is finished, everything is finished. That's one of their foolish ideas. So therefore, people are trying to prolong their life. Therefore, people are trying to make their old bodies into younger bodies. Like some people are thinking that they will implant some glands of some monkey so that they can prolong their sex life. In Paris, some people are thinking. Prabhupada said, "Why do you want to implant monkey glands in your body by importing them from India? Instead, if you wait for some time and you die, you can get a monkey's body and enjoy. Because that's what monkeys want to enjoy more. Actually, the nature will award bodies to the jivas who have certain type of enjoying propensities. So, therefore, you will see that mm, the material body inevitably goes through the six laws of transformation: birth, growth, maintenance, production of byproducts, decay, and death. It happens to every living body in this world, not only humans. It happens for everybody. Therefore, one has to actually ask, what is this world? What is this material body? What is beyond? Therefore, there are three things explained in the Shastra: matter, spirit, and controller of both. It is very important to understand all the three. We are actually spirit, and there is matter. The body which we have possesses is actually matter. And beyond this too, there is controller of both matter and spirit. So the matter is not in our control. Maya Adhyakshena Prakriti, Krishna says in 9.10. It is in his control. For example, when we get fever, we are in fever's control. Once a fever dominates our body, we practically become helpless. We become bedridden, tongue becomes bitter, we can't eat normal food, we take antibiotics to survive. You can see that. Just as fever controls my body during the time of being feverish. In the same manner, we are also controlled by our anger, controlled by lust, controlled by greed, and man becomes a slave of his animalistic emotions also. So, if one carefully observes this world, one will understand that everyone in this world is being controlled, being under control. So we will see as soon as we open our eyes and see the nature around us, mm, the the rising of the sun, uh, the sun rises, the sun sets, the moon rises, the cloud showers, the grains grow, the flowers blossom, the fruits ripe. None of these are done by us. Everything is actually seen to be happening all around us. We are mere observers of this phenomenon. And not only we are mere observers, we are totally dependent on all this for our very survival. Like for example, I can't live without eating grains. I can't live without drinking water. I can't live without the sunlight. I am dependent on them. So we all jivas in this world, we are mutually dependent on each other and we are absolutely dependent on God. Nobody can deny their dependence on God and God's supplied resources in this world. So one has to think, I didn't create all these things, but I'm accepting all these things. I'm depending on all these things. So therefore, matter and spirit both are ultimately under the control of one supreme being. who has created this world, who is maintaining this world, who will destroy this world, and who is that personality, and why has he created this world? What is his program for me in this world? One should ask these questions. So when you ask the question, then there is answer. The program for the living entities here is to actually purify the heart and quit the material world. Go back to one's original position. So therefore, but when the jivas are completely ignorant about this, as he says in the previous statement, he said, uh, then they imagine themselves to be the controller, or they try to become the controller. Read it next paragraph.
The duration of life varies according to species. Lord Brahma, the chief living being within this material universe, lives
Lives.
for millions and millions of years, while a minute germ lives for some hours only. But no one in the material world can survive eternally. Things are born or created under certain conditions. They stay for some time, and if they continue to live, they grow, procreate, gradually dwindle, and finally vanish. According to these laws, even the Brahmas, of which three are
Brahma, which there are millions. Yeah.
millions in different universes are liable to death either today or tomorrow. Therefore, the entire material universe is called Mrityaloka, the
Martyaloka.
place
Yeah.
of death.
Yeah. So here Brahma is giving an interesting example. He says somebody may think that if I prolong life, I can live happy. Brahma has a very long life, 3.11 trillion, 40 billion years. Just because he has a long life doesn't mean he doesn't die. Even he has to die. There's a Mahakalpa, there's Mahapralaya. Even Brahma has to die. So there is no point in prolonging our life, because even if you prolong, you can't live forever by prolonging the life. And also, one should think, what am I doing with my life? Is the goal of life prolonged life? Like you see, there are trees, like redwood trees, which live for 5,000 years, 7,000 years also. There are trees. With a long life, what are they doing? Lord Krishna came, spoke Bhagavad Gita and went. Buddha came, he spoke his teachings and went. Jesus came and spoke his teachings and went. The tree has been watching all that. And he hasn't done anything. He hasn't done any homework to cleanse his heart. The tree is just standing in one place. So, on the other hand, there are personalities like Shankaracharya, lived only 32 years, and Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu lived only 48 years. Their life duration may be short, but they actually lived a high quality life, and left behind such philosophical teachings which the whole world will remember for a million years. So, therefore, one should know that whether you live short or live long is immaterial. Uh, the duration of life of a human being is given to him for purification of heart, by studying the Vedic literatures. And the goal of human life is precisely put in these four simple teachings: acceptance of God, alignment with God, acting for the pleasure of God, and acting on behalf of God. So this
Hare Krishna, the screen is freezed or everyone is able to hear?
Screen is freezed. We are able to hear, but screen is freezed.
Okay, I've stopped it again. I'll just start it again. Maybe I'll reshare. Just a minute. Okay, I'll start again.
is what one should do. The first is, as I told you, understand.
Screen is still freezed.
I've reshared. I've stopped it right now, but
Okay.
I'll start it. Okay.
Our dependence on God, who has created this world, and find out what are his laws, what is temporary, what is permanent.
Now?
Yeah, now it's working. Yeah.
Oh, okay. Okay.
What is good for nothing, what is worthy of pursuing. So one should ask these questions: which will be permanent, what will be temporary, and hold on to the permanent. Don't hold on to the temporary. Temporary things will be finished over time, but permanent things will remain forever. So all these are taught in the scriptures. So one should go to the scriptures: acceptance of God, alignment with God, and then you can act as per His plan for us. Actually, there is a great plan. The universe is actually created with a plan. Prabhupada explains it. Just like if a state is created, the state also will have a jail also. There are law abiders in the state and lawbreakers put in the jail. And the program for the lawbreakers is reformation. They should reform their stealing propensity or whatever, give it up, and then come back to the state and live happily. In the same manner, the goal of the material world is same as the goal of a jail. Reformation of heart. We all need to have a change of heart. we can say that material world is like a hospital, which is actually a place for eating the medicine of the chanting of the holy name, get cured, become responsible for our spiritual lives, and then we become healthy and can return back to Godhead. Otherwise, this is a place of death. Mm. Yeah, yeah,
Material scientists and politicians are trying to make this place deathless because they have no information of the deathless spiritual nature. This is due to their ignorance of the Vedic literature, which contains full knowledge confirmed by mature transcendental experience. Unfortunately, modern man is averse to receiving knowledge from the Vedas, Puranas, and other scriptures.
yeah. So actually, modern material scientists and politicians, their focus is material body, whereas the Shastras focus is the spirit soul, which is undying eternal spirit soul. In fact, in the Srimad Bhagavatam, there is a very beautiful verse which talks about how the man should keep his material life very simple, and focus on the knowledge of the soul. Srila Prabhupada liked this verse very much. Kamasya nendriya pritir labho jiveta yavata Jivasya tattva jignasa narto yascheh karma bihi. The meaning of this verse is, don't engage your desires in sense gratification. He says, sense gratification means eating, sleeping, mating, defending, expanding the material pleasures. He says that, kamasya na indriya pritir, labho, can I do a job and earn? He says, yeah, you can. But jivete yavata, just for keeping your body and soul together, earn only that much. Why? Because this body is like a car, and Atma is like the driver. Yes, you have to put water in the car, you have to put petrol in the car, you have to clean the car, take the car to garage when some part breaks. But the goal of life is to sit in the car and do your business. Go to the client, do the work of the company. Similarly, this body, material body, uh, uh, can be taken care, but one should not pamper the material body. For example, how many type of coats and suits and ties and belts and watches and you know for the bodily decoration man is going for, and man is making so many industries to pamper his body and senses and without giving any importance to the knowledge of the soul. Therefore, in the Srimad Bhagavatam, which the verse which I told you, it says, Jivasya Tattva Jignasa. The goal of life is to understand the permanent entity in this body, who is the living principle, the soul. Like, for example, an aeroplane is going to be standing there for 1,000,000 years if, if unless one small pilot walks towards the plane, climbs up and enters the cockpit, and then he takes the plane off up in the sky. And that living spark is the soul, which actually uh, made the aeroplane become animated. Otherwise, the aeroplane in and of itself has no value at all. It's going to be standing there for 1,000,000 years. And the same is true wherever you find movement and living forms. I mean, wherever you find consciousness, thinking, feeling, willing, that's why the living principle is there. So therefore, the Shastras tell us that study about the person who is undying, who is immortal, sambhutim, not the asambhutim, not the temporary, perishable metal body. Therefore, you will find the Vedic times, many sages and saints kept their material life very simple. They did not expand the material life. Why? Because anyway you have to leave behind and go. Why to expand the material life? For example, say I am going in the train from Pune to Mumbai, for example. I am sitting in the train and I'm thinking, why did they put only 2 fans? They could have put 4 fans. I'll bring one electrician with me and attach 2 more fans, isn't it? And they say, you know, why the windows don't have any cloth curtains? It'll be nice to put some cloth curtains for the windows, isn't it? So if I'm making arrangement, or if I bring some bricks with me to construct a wall, so that I can have a room type of structure in the train, by the time Bombay will come, isn't it? So one should not try to enhance the material amenities and facilities, which is what modern man is trying to do. You will see that he's trying to make his living conditions better. You want to go for bigger bungalow, bigger cars, finer roads, more fat salary, more handsome looking body with some 25 type of hairstyles, all kinds of cosmetics. All these things are actually for enhancing the material appearances and the material commodities, material facilities. Actually, it's all like polishing the cage and starving the parrot inside. It's like that. So Prabhupada gave that example. Starving the parrot and polishing the cage and painting the cage outside. So, but man actually keeps on polishing and painting the cage, but then the parrot dies. Similarly, the soul is forgotten always, and the soul moves out of that body and goes to another body where he continues one more term of birth, old age, disease, death, Then he moves out of that body and goes to the third and fourth, and it goes on and on. So therefore, he's saying it is utter foolishness to make this Martyaloka deathless, because they have just no information of the deathless or immortal spiritual nature, he says. And this is due to their ignorance of Vedic literature. Ignorance is like darkness. In a dark room, sometimes you are afraid of, you know, you're afraid of a snake or a, scorpion or something. Yeah. So when you enter a dark room, you are afraid that anytime anything can happen to you because you can't see clearly. And knowledge means like switching on the tube light in a dark room. And immediately it's lit up. You can see clearly things what they are. You can have a clear understanding. Then you see things as they are. You have no fear. So that was the reason why when Arjuna heard the knowledge of Bhagavad Gita, at the end of Bhagavad Gita, he became very confident. He became very bold and very courageous, and he took the bow and arrow and fought the battle because he could see the things clearly. The very first thing Krishna taught him in Bhagavad Gita is this: my dear Arjuna, you are thinking yourself to be the body, but you are not the body. You are actually a resident of this body. Like in an apartment, there is a resident who is residing in the apartment. Similarly, in a car, there's a driver of the car. Similarly, in a cage, there is a parrot residing in the cage. Atma is actually a resident of the body. And if one doesn't know that basic foundational fact, then the result is he thinks I am this body. And whole life goes in making the bodily situation better. Because the body is getting older, I don't want old looks. I want young looks. Then I try to go for hair dye, try to go for facelift, try to go for pills, try to go for all kinds of cosmetics to keep my body decorated. uh, and and people are struggling hard to keep the things as they are in the body. They don't want to get old. At the same time, they want to increase their bodily happinesses as much as they can. So therefore, here the unfortunately, the modern man is averse to receiving knowledge from the Vedas, Puranas, and other scriptures. Yeah, that is because he's godless. There's one line Prabhupada writes, uh, the godless civilization is born of illusion, and the result of such illusion is lamentation. He writes this very famous statement. It is the godless civilization is born of illusion, moha. And what is that moha? Is what was explained till now. So, how can this moha be surpassed? There is one verse in the Bhagavatam which says, Chirani kim patina santi dishanti viksham naivangripa parabrutat sarito pashushan ruddha guha kimajito vatino pasannan kasmat bhajanti kavayo dhana dharma dandan satyam satyam kshitau kim kashipo prayase bahau swasiddhe upavarhanaikyam satyam jalo kim puradan napatriya digbal kalado satikim dukulai. Very, very powerful verses. He says, what is the need for a spiritualist to purchase some vessels? If he combines his two hands, here is a vessel in which he can take water or food or anything and use it, he says. What is the use of purchasing a pillow to sleep? Just if you do a hand like this and lie down, God has given you a natural pillow. He says you can just sleep like that. He says, Bahos siddhi upabarhanaikyam, he's asking. And then he's saying, Satyam Shitau, why do you have to build any house? There is vast lands available. And then the next verse, another verse says that, Chiranakim patinasanti dishanti bhiksham, naivangri paparabhata staritoposishan. He's saying that, if you wish to drink water, there are rivers. If you want to eat some fruit, there are trees bearing fruits. You can eat them. If you want to drink milk, there is cow giving you milk. If you want sunlight, sunlight is given by the sun. If you want a living place peacefully, if you can go to the gufas. In the gufa, he's saying gufas are actually warm in winter and cool in summer. It's a very beautiful house. Actually, sometimes the gufas are very big inside, and sometimes rishis live there. As if it's like a bungalow inside. Very warm, and it is a very conducive place for spiritual practice. In this way, he's saying that that Supreme Lord, Ajita, is he not maintaining you with all these facilities? Why should man go and slog hard in this world to make money and try to build an apartment and try to increase pamper their body with so many kinds of costly, dresses and cars and bungalows and facilities and amenities, and he gets completely carried away. So economic development means converting a thatched hut into a skyscraper. Prabhupada says that. Imagine in a village, one man was living in a thatched hut, and he's an old man, 60-year-old man. Now he tells his son, you bring me money from India and abroad, and we'll build a big house. So they take 10 years, 15 years to build a house. By the time that old man is dead and gone. Instead of that, it is better that Anyway, the body is going to fall away one day. Turnam jiteta napateta anuvrityu yavan, it is said. Uh, Before the body falls off, one should know that this body is temporary, but the soul is permanent. I will do something for the auspicious future of the soul. आत्मा के लिए मंगल करना चाहिए. We should do something good for the soul. So then he should actually go to a saintly person and receive the teachings from the Bhagavad Gita. And he would have perfected his life instead of converting a thatched hut into a skyscraper building, which is what modern man is struggling hard to do. There are many people purchasing a flat and they have to pay monthly EMI, some 20,000, 25,000 they have to pay, and they have to slog hard in a company where they go 8 o'clock in the morning, come at 10 o'clock at night. Modern man has made his life so miserable. He has no time to even enjoy life. The purpose of making money was enjoyment, but now people are making money and giving money to doctor for the sicknesses. Where is the enjoyment? So the material life has become highly complicated now, in the modern times, in the name of chasing after the mirage of happiness. So spiritual life, this verse says that basically we don't say that you go and live in a gufa or drink from a river and or you just no need to purchase any vessels, use your hands. We don't say that. The whole idea is what? Simplify, simplify, simplify your material life, so that you will have time for spiritual life. Pay attention to the real personality in this body, who is the spirit soul, the Sambhutim, or the permanent, eternal, primeval, uh, the imperishable, and ensure that we awaken the knowledge of the soul, and then gradually we come to understand the soul is not, himself independent. He is actually part and parcel of the Lord. Independently, we can never become happy. So after I know I am part and parcel of the Lord, then the next step is being part and parcel of the Lord. The part should serve the whole. Without part serving the whole, the part can never become happy. Like a screw, for example, as long as it is a part of a lorry or some big machine, it has value. Uh, that one screw, in case you lost the screw, you go to the shop and say, "Sir, I want the screw which is fitting in a lorry, and this is a standard size," you say, and it is pretty costly if you have to buy that. They will say it is 10 rupees or 20 rupees, they will say. But you take the same screw and go to the Bangar Kebab, we say, it will be 50 paisa or 1 rupee. When the screw is not connected to the lorry, the value of that is very cheap, good for nothing. And when the standard size screw or the same type of screw is going to fit in the lorry, the overall system, its value increases, several times more. Similarly, when the jiva agrees to become servant of the Lord and align with his plan, then jiva's value increases more. Then he can also shine. The Prabhupada gives example. If you have a gold ring, on the top of which you have a blue color diamond, so the diamond studded on a gold ring looks very attractive. So the jiva is compared to the gold ring, and the diamond studded is compared to Krishna. So by carrying Krishna on his head, the jiva becomes very happy. On his heart, then jiva carries. But if you remove the diamond, what do you find in the gold ring? You find only depression. Similarly, when the jiva forgets Krishna from his heart, he gets depression in the heart. That's what remains for him, isn't it? So in this way, the Shastras teach about the permanent and the temporary, and they warn us not to waste our life blowing over the smoke. If you have this in villages, they say funkni, they say no blower. They have a so if the fire is covered by smoke, should you blow on the smoke or should you blow on the fire? Fire. Because if you blow over the smoke will spread all over the room. So smoke is material and the fire is compared to spiritual. So modern man is trying to solve material problems with material solutions. And he is not trying to solve the material problem with spiritual solution. So for example, uh, modern man is seeing, like in one of the premier institutes, they found students are committing suicide in the fans in their rooms. So then they made announcement, remove the fans and put AC in all the rooms, they said. But then the boys started hanging in the trees, because the problem was not the fan. The problem is the attitude of the boys. They are frustrated. They are not getting any spiritual training. So if people receive spiritual training and they become sane, they know the meaning of life, goal of life. They wouldn't be committing suicide. They wouldn't be indulging in degrading bad habits. The jiva is struggling to happy in this world by doing so many nonsensical activities, and wasting his, not only wasting his time but spoiling uh, his own bright future, entangling himself more and more. So therefore, this verse says only one main thing: Sambhutim cha vinasham cha yastat vedo vayam saha. He says, and there is Sambhuti which is permanent, and vinasham is that which is destructible. So always know the difference between the two. What is permanent and what is temporary. What is worthy of pursued, what is worthy of not pursued. There is one very nice sloka by Narada Muni. तस्यैव हेतो प्रयतेत कोविदो न लभ्यते यत् भ्रमतामुपरि अधः तल्लभ्यते दुःखवदन्यतः सुखम् कालेन सर्वत्र गभीररंहसा. He is saying when a man goes from the bottommost part of the planet to the topmost part of the Brahmaloka, top to bottom, he says, Tasyeva heto prayateta kovido na labhyate yad brahmatam upari adaha, he is saying. From top to bottom, if you go, that which you cannot find in this world, for that one should search, he is saying. What you find in this world, Abrahma Bona Loka, Panaravartino Arjuna, he is saying. From topmost planet of Brahmaloka to Patala Loka, there is only birth, old age, disease, and death. Easily found in every planet for every living being, he says. And that which is not found is spiritual life. Living in it is seriously planning to quit the material world and go back to Godhead. And that is a very rare commodity. And that is what actually one should endeavor for, he is saying. Going back to Godhead. So I will conclude the class with one beautiful story. You see, the Puranas, the Upanishads, they many times give narrations from the lives of saints, from the lives of kings, replete with moral and spiritual instructions. So one such history comes in the, you know, in one of the Upanishads. You'll find that the story of Nachiketas. So there was one king called Vajasravas, and his son was Nachiketas. One day the boy saw his father giving charity to many of the visitors. So he would be constantly murmuring, talking to his father. Being a small kid, he asked his father, Papa, why are you giving this cows in charity? These cows are very thin and they are bony, and some of these cows don't give milk also. Then why are you giving them in charity to the Brahmins? How will they benefit from these cows? He would be asking questions like this. And one by one, he was asking many questions, and the father was trying to answer. He said, Don't disturb my son. No, I said, Don't disturb, he was telling. But the boy went on asking questions. At that time, the boy uh, and the father became irritated. One time he said, Hey, if you are making so much disturbance, I will hand you over to Yamadutas. Like that he said. And sure enough, very soon, Yamadutas with their horns, and they also joined the queue of people receiving charity. And they came in the front and said, Sir, just now you spelled out a word that you will give away your son to Yamadutas, so we are all here. Please kindly give your son. They asked. See, in those days, people were pran bhi jaye, vachan na jaye. They said, once you give a word, you can't escape. And the king really broke down. Alas, I have to give away my son now, but I can't go back in my word. So very reluctantly, he gave away his son. So they took the boy and went to Yamaloka. In Yamaloka, 3 days passed, and Yamaraj hadn't returned back at all. After 3 days, when Yamaraj came, he met this boy sitting here. He said, My dear boy, I am sorry I was very late. I was out of station. I just came back. Come, let me take you. So he took him, and he inquired about him. Nachiketas told about himself. And Yamaraj said, Since I delayed you for 3 days, I'll give you 3 benedictions. Ask me. So that's a long story cut short, I'm telling you. First boon he asked Nachiketas, I heard that beyond this earthly planet is the heavenly planets, uh, where many great souls live, many noble souls live. I heard that there are also uh, heavenly delights, and beyond that there are noble souls and saintly persons also live. I wanted to know more about heaven and what is the yajna to be done. So he taught him the yajna first. And the second question he asked them, mm, he said, You see, my father, due to slip of tongue, he said that he will give me away to Yamadutas. Please kindly forgive my father and please send me back to my father, uh, so that he'll be happy. Otherwise, he was very broken hearted, he said. Yamaraj said, Okay, so be it, I'll send you, don't worry, he said. And thirdly, he asked one more question. Sir, you are the Lord of Death, Yama. So can you please tell me about that world which many people are talking, that there is a world beyond this world which is actually a place free from sorrow, free from hunger, free from thirst, and old age, disease, and death, and also also noble souls, purest of the souls. I want to know about that world. What is that world, and where is that world, and how can I reach there? Can you please tell me? When Yamaraj heard this, he was shocked. He said, My dear boy, I can give you a golden chariot. I can give you beautiful horses. I can give you fair maiden. I can give you vast lands. I can give you elephants and horses. And I can give you gold and silver. And my dear boy, ask me for anything in this world of mortals, however hard to obtain, I can provide you. I assure you this. And I can, along with all these things, I can give you sons and daughters. And I can give you vast lands to rule over the earth. In this way, you can enjoy your life for a long, long time to come. Like the Yamaraj said. Mm. And the boy thought about it for a while and he said, no, sir, I don't want any of these things. What is the use of beautiful fair maiden? What is the use of vast lands and gold and silver and diamond? Because all these pleasures will pass away over a period of time. And by the way, the power of our senses doesn't remain as it is. The body diminishes in its power and abilities and its resources. As one gets older, one is hard of seeing or hard of hearing, uh, and one can hardly eat good foods. You may give me beverages and very nice, pleasurable items to eat, but how can I eat them? How can I drink those beverages? Actually, because the power of the senses is lost, the abilities of the body is finished. There is no use living a very long life in this world. I will only ask you for that benediction which I asked you. Hmm. Please tell me what is the way to go to that immortal world, and I want to know more about it. So now Yamaraj understood this boy is really serious and is very intelligent. Then he said, generally I don't teach this to anybody because he's one of the Dwadasha Mahajans, 12 Mahajans. So he said that since you are very sincere, you are serious, and you are inquiring very nicely, so I am going to answer you the question. And then he said, my dear boy, there are two roads in this world. You know, one road is heavily uh, filled with traffic, which is that world. It's a world of temporary pleasures, temporary gains, uh, temporary achievements, which are all finished at the time of death. And sense objects for the pleasure, sense objects for giving pleasure to the senses. It's all filled with. So that is the road where most living entities want to go, and it is heavily crowded. Pam, pam, pam. They're all putting horn and they're all competing with one another to enjoy the temporary pleasures on this road. And there is another road which is the path of boundless bliss. That path is not very populated. Once in a while somebody goes to the road, but that road leads to endless happiness. It's immortal happiness, everlasting happiness. It leads to spiritual world. Hmm. And then he said, since you have asked about that route, I will tell you. He said, this body is like a chariot, and our senses are like horses, and the mind is like ropes, and the intelligence is like the driver. So he said, this is where he speaks this example of the chariot of the body. And he said, if you really want to go to that world, you should nourish your intelligence driver with the message of the scriptures like Gita Bhagavatam, isn't it? And then when the driver is strong, he will control the ropes, which is mind, and the senses, which are compared to horses. And then whereas training the mind and senses by powerful intelligence, spiritual intelligence, and focusing senses, mind, and intelligence on the Supreme Lord without any deviation, without any distraction, the jiva can experience boundless happiness even in this world. What to speak of the next world that awaits him after he leaves the body? Like that he said, so Nachiketas understood it. So Nachiketas became a wonderful devotee subsequently and perfected his life by following the teachings of what Yamaraj gave. So now what Yamaraj taught him is the same thing what we are talking in this verse, Sambhutim cha Vinasham cha. So he said there are two roads. One road is Sambhutim road. Another road is Vinasham road. Temporary. In this world, materially speaking, people go up, 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 up. At the time of death, they drop down to zero. Again, next life. Up, 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 up. Then they drop down to zero. Materially, they lose everything. They don't carry anything with them, and that should never be forgotten. That is the Vinasham road. Whereas in the Sambhutim road, and every lifetime, whatever bhakti you do is never lost. Neha vikramanashosti pratyavayo na vidyate swalpamapyasya dharmasya trayate mahato bhayat is telling that, whatever little bit bhakti you do, that will remain with you. If you did the 30%, next life you start from 31%. So bhakti is always cumulative progress. Whereas the Vinasham road, it's a it's a Divala bank account. Whatever you invest there is going to be finished at the time of death. So you decide whether you want to invest in eternal bank account or Divala bank account. Sambhutim is eternal bank account, and Vinasham cha is Divala bank account. So therefore, one should. Even Einstein made one very profound statement. Einstein said, "The problem that man has created with his intelligence. That intelligence is not sufficient to solve the problems that he has created, which means a child can take one pot like that, he can hit it on the ground and break it. And he may be crying, I broke the pot. But can he make the pot? He cannot. For making the pot, you have to bring a potter. Breaking the pot, even a child can do. Similarly, in this world, modern man has created a messy material world, which is, not very difficult to make the world a mess. But to clear up this mess, one requires only spiritual knowledge. You can't do it with material, uh, pressure by the police or by the military. You cannot control the criminalism. You cannot control the drug addiction. You cannot control the suicides, simply by making laws of the state or the government. Actually, it's only possible by spiritual solution, and Srila Prabhupada proved it. Uh, in America, the hippies didn't listen to their parents. They didn't listen to teachers. They didn't listen to police. They didn't listen to government. They became completely, counterculture people and youngsters from rich families, and nobody could do anything to them. They all went to an area called Bawari, somewhere into music, somewhere into drugs, somewhere into, you know, all kinds of bad habits: drugs, sex, and music. These three were the prominent words. And they were living a carefree, so called carefree life, but they were actually hurting themselves mm, by dirty behaviors and dirty habits. And nobody could rectify them, nobody could control them. The one person whom they obeyed was Srila Prabhupada. Prabhupada gave them the Maha Mantra, cleansed their hearts, and made them submissive, and they surrendered to the Swamiji. The Swamiji is our well-wisher. And then from then started a great revolution all across the globe, from those hippies. So you can see Prabhupada made the hippies understand what is temporary, what is permanent, and he could teach them how to hold on to the permanent. So therefore, this verse of Isopanishad explains that let us not be enamored by the superficial, temporary glitter and glamour of this world. It's all a conglomeration of 24 material elements, which is sure to be vanquished into the oblivion with passing time. But what will permanently remain is the soul's Krishna karma, the soul's spiritual activities, which the soul carries with him birth after birth, and then at a certain stage he becomes fully perfect and returns to his original position, which is actually is the ultimate goal of life. So we will read the second part of the class. In the next class, we will continue it. Shri Prabhupada ki, Gaur Bhakta Vrinda ki. Thank you very much.
Hare Krishna. So we'll continue in the next week with the remaining. Srila Prabhupada ki jai, Shri Isopanishad ki jai, Nitai Gaur Premanande, Hare Hare Bol.